Do you want more success, more growth, more results? Then it's time for the Boundless Success Accelerator from the Modern Observer Group. This isn't your average coaching program. It's where top performers come to dominate. Weekly group sessions, on-demand coaching, a community that's got your back, and a power-packed library of tools to supercharge your business and career. No more excuses, no more waiting. Get in, level up, and start building the life you've been dreaming about. Visit us at modernobserver.com/boundless success to join today. Let's get you to the next level.
Welcome to the experiment, Simple Questions for 100 People. I'm Bill Correll, and this is my investigation. I'm doing this project to gather data from 100 beautiful human beings for the sole purpose to see what actually happens across the interviews. Now, the questions are fixed, and all the interviews are going to remain consistent, with the variable being the actual participants themselves and their answers, yourself and your answer. It's as if I'm having you, Carin, come sit on my porch to share your thoughts so I can learn about people. Looking forward to what I'm going to learn after we're done. But in the meantime, very interested in the people and their particular story. So it's my distinct pleasure to introduce, well, why don't I let you do that for me? What is your full name?
My name is Carin Mikos.
Carin Mikos. Do you have a middle name?
No middle name. I should put that in there as my middle name. So let me ask me that question again. Let me try it out.
All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3. What is your full name?
My name is Carin, no middle initial, Mikos.
That's amazing. So
Or no middle name either.
how did you escape getting a middle name?
Yeah. I don't know. My brother and I, we don't have a middle name. My mother doesn't have a middle name. So maybe it's just a legacy thing. I don't know.
A family habit, it sounds like.
It does. It does. Although we do have the youngest brother. He's a junior, and he has a middle name.
Is that because your brother or your dad has a middle name?
Yeah, my dad has a middle name. So I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. They don't have a good excuse.
Sounds like they may have had a conversation and your mom won.
Perhaps. I did get the unique spelling of my first name, being Carin.
Yes.
So maybe that was the compromise.
So I think I mentioned this to you before when I first met you. I've known an EN, but I've never known an IN. So, and I've also known a YN, believe it or not. So
yeah. I've seen it all.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure you have. In your book, it comes out the 50 Shades of Carin.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So, what's your favorite nickname that most people don't know?
So this was probably the toughest question because I often have commented throughout my life that no nickname has ever stuck.
Interesting.
I don't have a nickname. I don't have a middle name. There you go.
All right. So this is really interesting. I'm trying to think in terms of what a fascinating, multidimensional human being. It's so simple to find you in the universe. You're just Carin Mikos.
That's it.
All right. Sometimes KISS is the best way to go, right?
Yeah, that's it.
So, Miss No Name, middle name, when did you first notice what color hair you had?
So I have probably been the one to dictate the color of my hair since I was probably a freshman in college. Um, and I used it as a template, an expression of myself, all kinds of colors, really all kinds of colors. And so hair color was never It was never a consideration because I was the one that was in control of it.
Yeah.
My natural hair color, I used to call it, was like I was born kind of a strawberry blonde, and then it turned into a mousy brown. And then it was been every color in the rainbow since.
That's interesting. So, would you say that your hair color from time to time is a reflection of your state of mind, or is there
For
another
sure.
statement that you're making with it? Like, for
Yeah,
instance,
for sure. For
yeah,
sure. State of mind, am I feeling like I need to stick out a little bit? Do I want to kind of be a bigger presence? Or do I maybe want to blend in and do some people watching? But then I'll spice it up with the haircut.
yeah.
So
So you
it's
probably had it many different lengths, right?
yeah, all over the place. I
Did
love
you
that.
did you ever have super long?
Super long, like maybe past mid back, but that was it.
Yeah.
Never like down to the bottom or
Well, what's kind of interesting is back in my day, I'm a few weekends longer in the tooth than you are. So
mhm, mhm.
when I was a late teenager, the big thing to do at that point was to put a little peroxide in one side of your hair a little bit and get a streak going in it. And the girls were doing a thing called henna. I don't know if you've heard of that, but
Yep.
they just get a nice highlight with a little bit of redness or a little bit of like that. No blues and greens and pinks or anything of that nature. But what we used to call it was, we let our hair grow long, and that was letting our freak flag fly, as a very famous person once used in a song lyric. So
Yes.
yeah, so that's great conversation about the hair. As simple as your name has always been, it's your diversity of expression has just been in your presentation and in your hair. I love it. That's really
For
cool.
sure. For sure. Thanks.
You're welcome. No extra charge. Okay.
Yeah, thank you for that.
So Karen, what's your favorite thing to do to intentionally waste time?
There's a couple things. I definitely like to dabble in the computer games that are the nature of like a match three. Um, I don't know why. It's completely numbing. And I don't have to worry about anything else except for getting the three, strawberries together. Um, I don't know about going for a walk is considered wasting time, but sometimes it feels like I'm wasting time when I'm just out there walking.
Yeah, some people have kind of equated that question with escaping the mundane, moment to moment stress and whatever else is going on in their life. And I think that the having frequent timeouts is really a good thing to
Hmm.
your brain to come to a kind of a neutral spot so you can come back refreshed. But match three, do you do anything else?
To numb out or to
Yeah.
um not to necessarily numb out, but to preoccupy my mind, I'll get active in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Creating some kind of like for example, this morning I'm having some friends over this evening. I'm making some pasta dish. I had the sauce going. There's no recipe. I'm just making it up as I go along, and I just love that kind of focus or mindfulness that you bring to that one activity, and the rest of the world just kind of goes away.
Well, I share that penchant myself. I actually love to cook. My wife and I have been cooking our own meals since 2008. She went in for a gallbladder surgery. It didn't go well, so she couldn't tolerate spicy food or fats or anything of that nature. And guess what I like to eat? So, starting then, I bet you I've cooked probably 300 meals a year for myself. It's hard as you get
Yeah, yeah,
stuff to do it for two, but it's even harder for one. But
yeah,
it's also a place for self expression. So
yeah.
I'm famous for taking 45 minutes to an hour and a half to make my dinner for one.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Same, same, same.
yeah, I like the whole
Yeah.
process How about you? The
Yeah, the whole process, the
the timing,
chopping.
what's this gonna look like on the plate? And yeah,
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, what's your favorite movie to watch alone?
So I I can't answer this question. I don't think I don't like to do a lot of things alone, first of all.
Mhm.
And if I'm just sitting there watching a movie, I can't help but get up and start doing something else. So then I think, oh, then I'm not really watching the movie,
Right.
you know. So I like to watch like series, short, 1 hour, 8 episode kind of things. So that I don't feel so uh wasteful of my time by sitting around watching a 2 hour movie or something.
Yeah. So, are you a binger?
Um Sometimes really depends on what's like in the snowstorms and the bad weathers. Like I could totally binge this morning.
Yeah.
Um uh but I had other things to do too, but it was that kind of weather. I could have totally just sat on the couch with my coffee and watched 2 or 3 episodes. Yeah.
It's great. So, is there a favorite movie that you watched, like, more than 5 or 10 times?
I love A League of Their Own. I love It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah.
Um there's a couple of baseball movies that I really like that I can't think of their titles right now. Old ones. I remember watching my father, and that was our thing. Baseball was our thing.
Did you like The Natural?
Yes, yes. Love The Natural.
Randy Newman really killed it with the score, didn't he?
He did. He did.
Long way from short people,
Yeah. Yeah.
and you can keep your hat on.
Yeah. Yep.
So, were you an athlete in high school?
I was. I was a varsity, like 3 year varsity player in volleyball and softball.
Right.
I played basketball for a couple years, but I don't really count that.
Yeah. And what was your position in softball?
I played catcher and first base.
That's pretty cool.
It
Yeah.
was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I did both of those in baseball as well, as along with pitching and shortstop. But,
Oh, nice. Yeah.
yeah, well, see, the thing of it is once you've got that in your background, I don't know about you, I go to a game, I just, like, get antsy, and I wanna get out there and play, and I can just feel the juices rolling again. Do you get that happening?
Absolutely. My entire childhood was all about the athletics. Between my two younger brothers, my parents, one year we counted over 500 baseball slash softball games in a summer for all five of us.
Wow.
It was nuts and it was awesome.
That's amazing that your
Yeah.
parents could do stuff like that with you. I mean,
Yeah.
so blessed in terms of that's me talking, but maybe it
I
was, maybe
agree.
good for you.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
So, all right, so this is one I've been looking forward to asking you in particular, okay?
Okay.
And if you were to have an action figure made of you, what superpower would it have, and what colors would its uniform be?
So, the superpower is invisibility. And in my world, I am most effective. I am most present when it's almost like I'm invisible to the person I'm speaking to.
Yeah.
Like I'm so with them that I disappear. And that's a magical, magical time. So invisibility and the color, of course, would be like glittery silver.
Of course.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Would you have a cape?
Oh yeah, cape. Not not high heel boots, but boots. Maybe just past the ankle.
Yep.
Um, Definitely some kind of utility belt. for sure. Not sure what I keep in my belt, but definitely some chapstick. I keep it with me everywhere.
Don't get caught without it. Yeah.
Yeah. um yeah, and it would definitely be, because it's silver, it would be like reflective and like thermodynamic something, and electrical something, powered, solar,
I can see
sustainable.
some healing crystals in your belt too, or something.
Definitely. There you go. There you go. Healing crystals in the belt. Yep. Yep.
Maybe a a sonic tone generating a jar or something of that nature.
Sure. One of those sound bowls. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the short version of what I was talking about. So, the sound
Yeah.
bowl. So thinking about that for a minute, it'd be very useful for you in your job. But can you think of like another like way that being invisible would allow you to really accomplish your goal in the world? You know, like on a grand scale, because I know you're a big.
Oh, yeah. So it actually doesn't work in my plan to conquer the world. It doesn't work for me to be invisible. It does work for me to be shiny though. So when I'm not invisible, I'm shiny with all the silver and all the crystals. So maybe that's the flip side.
That's just for TV interviews and that sort of, right?
Right, right,
When they do the story of Karen's supernatural growth.
right, right. Yeah, so
So
I need to shine on.
so how does it not support your view of taking over the world? What is your view of conquering the world?
Yeah, so I want to conquer the world by authoring the conversation around grief, around death and dying. That's my plan.
Yeah.
And once we can, on a global scale, really look at dying as something else other than the way we look at it now,
Yeah.
and perhaps in a way of celebration, a way of acknowledgement, a way of completion, um, maybe even a way to express your love,
Yeah.
then I believe it'll alter the world and the way that we relate to each other.
Yeah, it certainly would give you a present that's not fearful of passing away in the future, I think. You know, if people could be raised with that in mind, that there's a logical completion to everyone, it's nothing to be feared. However, you know, cling to what you've got right this minute as tightly as you possibly can because it's precious, you know?
Yeah, it'll increase the value of life, the value of living.
Maybe for more people, right?
Yeah.
I like
Like it
that.
won't be so easy to just like excuse my bluntness, and perhaps even, if you don't want to go where this conversation's going right now, let me know. But, perhaps the next time somebody considers pulling a trigger, this will have altered that because they value life more.
Yeah.
I mean, that's big. And I'm okay with going big.
I actually think that what you have to say on this subject is really important. And no, I absolutely do not want to derail the conversation. However, we're focusing on you, and your access to how you want to make that happen is really important, you know, to the whole conversation, because you are very active right now in you know, healing people's last days, right?
I am. Yes. Yeah. I have an entire business and service created around that, and it is a it is the fulfillment of my purpose on this earth.
Yeah. If I were, you know, to make a bold statement, I would say that you are actively pursuing having as advanced superhuman skills as you possibly can in that area.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, yeah, you're a difference maker, and I think you calm a room, in my experience, and that's not for nothing. Okay, that's a pretty good superpower right there.
Thank you.
Yeah. So with that said, let's go back to our questions. The
Okay.
formal. What did you want to grow up to be when you were 5 years old?
Easy peasy. I wanted to be a cartoonist. I
Hmm.
took art classes, and I dove right into like the Peanuts and Snoopy, and I just wanted to be a cartoonist. My father even bought me a drawing table.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Snoopy is one of the most easy things to replicate in the world. That
Right.
Charles Schultz, when he put Snoopy together and made it, this representation of a beagle. He did us all a favor, right? It
Right.
wasn't like doing Rin Tin Tin or something of that nature. It's a bunch
Yeah.
of circles with a little here, and then color that in and draw the ear. And yeah, I
Yeah.
went along the same way. I did a little bit of art, and my dad had a department party, and he brought me home a roll of really, big uh, printing paper for a
Yeah.
dot matrix printer,
Yeah.
at work for doing reports on, and said, "Make me a banner for this picnic and do whatever you want to with it." So I put the department name, and I had all these Peanuts characters, and including Pigpen, and it was a lot of fun. So I
Yeah. Yeah.
cheated, and I projected images onto the paper so that I could first trace them out, and then. But I guess artists do stuff like that, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. It was fun. It was fun.
So, being an artist when you grow up, uh, did you get to pursue that, through school, or what ended up happening?
I've always kind of taken a variety of creative type classes. I did in school pottery, and but I knew then that that's not what was going to get me a living. I wanted to. I originally went to school to be a teacher.
Yeah,
And several years later, that turned into nursing.
it's interesting. They're different art forms in their own right, but they also have a different form of self-expression. I think, in terms of the community and your interaction with a lot of different or diverse people. Anyway,
It's
um,
interesting that you picked up on the community aspect. I was in special education, and I was teaching, and I was 5 years in, and I was heartbroken. That's the short story. And I came home to regroup and to enjoy the birth of my first nephew
yeah.
and the first expansion of our family. Um, and that turned into volunteering, and that turned into nursing school, and that was almost 30 years ago,
Wow.
and it's the perfect path.
As Gomer used to say, "Ain't life funny, Sergeant Carter?"
Right.
Funny thing happened
Yeah.
to me on my way to Madison Avenue and being a commercial artist, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Exactly.
and that's kind of neat. Are you doing anything with regard to the self-expression in art in your daily life now?
um Maybe that's where the cooking is.
Yeah.
Oh, and I've a new obsession, plants.
Please
So
more. Yes.
yeah, I'm currently um I've been hollered at a couple times now. It's getting too close to Christmas. I shouldn't be buying myself anything. And I can't help it. I'm obsessed with these little 4 to 6 inch pots and the little plants I get to put in them and take care of them. It's ridiculous.
Do you name your plants?
Kind of, sorta, maybe.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Okay. We'll move on to the next question. That one seems a little too close to home. Karen, what's your greatest accomplishment?
um, that's I'm really proud of the quietest house. This this thing that I got going on. And I think the greatest accomplishment is my family.
Mhm.
and the role that I am in that big group, in that big team, and the way that I can contribute to them in a meaningful and impactful way.
Mm-hmm.
I love that they listen to me. I love that they seek me out, and I get to pay back my parents in the process.
So I'm not sure if you're speaking literally or figuratively with the term family. For some of us, that's kind of any group that we're participating in fully and they seem to take up most of our time. Are you speaking about blood relatives or are you speaking about,
Both,
oh, so
really,
please,
both. Yeah.
yeah, demonstrate and distinguish for our listeners a little bit like what that looks like for you, because it does sound like your family has been kind of holding hands with each other all the way along. I mean, if you've got 500 attendances at baseball games and softball games one summer, I can't even imagine, some of the other stuff.
Yeah, we just my parents. So I'm a family. We grew up three kids. My parents are still together, 62 years of marriage. They're 81 years old. My father's been of ill health, I would say the majority of 24. And as a family, we have really stood together, at least three generations worth around my father, supported him, and have nursed him back to his health. And my voice in that was powerful and impactful and a contribution to everybody. And that exists in other family and friends.
Yeah.
Who I am for my friends and my chosen family
Yeah.
as well.
And at some point, there's no meaningful distinction between the two groups.
There is none. They matter of fact, they intermingle freely.
Yeah.
There is no distinction.
Thank you. That's wonderful. And I also
Mm,
think that it's a good question starter for our listeners. Like, ladies and gentlemen, you really might want to ask yourself today when you look around at what's happening to family groups in general, or what we see represented on television, or what we read in books and stuff. What does it look like to have a nuclear family that actually matters? What does it look like, a nuclear family that where blood really is thicker than water? Not just something
yeah.
to say, but when you speak, that just comes out every time you honor each other. I love it, in fact.
Yeah, thank you.
So you're very welcome. And who's your favorite person to listen to?
Um, so there's a couple different answers to this. I love to listen to my father's voice. Um, I can hear it in a crowd of, in a stadium, in a gymnasium. I can hear it. I can also hear the whispers. Um, I love to listen to podcasts that have interesting voices. Some folks in the UK, I love that accent. Um, So, and I love to listen to folks whose voices are almost songs. Um, I've had a couple of mentors in my life that had that quality. And a lot of them were from like the South African region. So that accent is really appealing to me and I would love to listen to it.
It's different than the usual, right?
Mm, yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost magnetic to me.
Yeah. I find that I have to listen more intently and have to be more present as well, which is kind of a cool thing,
Yeah, it is.
because there are people that I can listen to for 10 or 15 minutes, not pay attention to a word they said, and then almost verbatim, I'll repeat back to them exactly what they said, and they go, "How'd you do that?" I said, "I don't know."
Same.
I get it. So please complete this sentence. When I grow up,
Okay.
I'd like to.
I'm sorry, say it again.
I said, no, I'll say it for the first time. You ready?
Ready.
Please complete this sentence. When I grow up, I'd like to.
Own a mansion and a yacht.
That's valid.
Yeah, that's it. That's my answer.
And what's up with that, Carin?
Delmer Fudd, to Bugs Bunny.
Own a mansion and a yacht.
Yeah.
So is that literal or virtual?
No, that was just I was just quoting a cartoon from my youth. And when I grow up, I wanna have filled the dash between the dates on my tombstone.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, I got a feeling what you mean by that is other people can recite that, even the ones who didn't know who you were and may not even know your name.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that's who you are, is that the legacy looks like a difference in the culture that wouldn't have happened anyway.
Yes.
That's just me talking.
I hear it.
What's the most important thing in life to you right now?
That the message that love and loss can coexist is heard around the world.
I'd like you to say that again in different words, if you will.
What's important to me right now is that people around the world discover, like for themselves, this space where love and loss can coexist.
Yeah, it sounds like there's an opportunity to examine a way of being and then kind of like instead of get it intellectually, but get it in their bodies and get it in their souls.
Mm,
I like the idea that your cultural shift can be um you're not presenting it in your face, which I think is one of the ways that it's actually going to have a chance to succeed.
well, it doesn't exist. It does exist in your body.
100%.
It's a knowing in here. It's a um, it's just a knowing. I can't explain it any other way. I
Yeah.
just know. I just know.
Yeah. And so this whole in the body felt sense sort of thing is something that you can talk till the cows come home and someone will never get it other than intellectually, like balance, or rhythmic breathing,
Hmm.
swimming, or those kinds of things, or what it feels like to stand at a foul line and shoot foul free throws, 8, 9, 10 in a row. There's no thought going into it, but it's in your body and it happens automatically. And what if having love and loss coexist could kind of show up in the world the same way?
Yeah,
That's one of the more beautiful, important things that I've heard, and I appreciate you sharing that and being willing to kind of dive into it a little bit more, more distinctly, if you will, so that I.
yeah. No, I appreciate that you actually could hear what I was trying to say. And like you gave it back to me in a way that I can now I can give it away.
Isn't that what
Yeah,
it's about? Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. There's a group of people that I used to hang out with, and we had this conversation about the ridiculous uh, effort of people to make a point. That it really, if unless it improves the conversation or leads the conversation to incite more thought from other people, it's making noise. So making a point is the booby prize.
Yeah,
And getting to discernment and getting to agreement, I think really, if we did that conversation most of the time, I might make us a little bit different world than the one that we're sitting in or think we're sitting in sometimes.
for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. 100%.
And I appreciate you giving me raw material for me to kind of jump on and have a chat with you. This is great. Um, what would you like to leave in the world after your life is done? And I think you've mentioned some really great things. And what else would you say would be really important to leave in the world after your life is done?
Um, a ripple.
Yeah.
I need a ripple. Gosh darn it, I need a ripple. And just a little extra space. That's all.
I'll let that land for a moment. A ripple and a little extra space. You can park whatever you want to into those words, and you won't be wrong.
Yeah.
However you hear that, your space, your ripple. Um, the challenge is can you be mindful of it? Keep yourself reminded that it's possible and that it's something that you want, and then allow it to happen in your life. Invite it in. What a cool thing that is. So that's unless you have anything else about the first dozen questions, I've got a baker's question.
No, let's go for the bakers. That's always the best one.
So do you go to the baker very often, or do you
Um,
do it yourself?
no, I'm not much of a baker, so I would have to go anytime there's a need.
Yeah. When I used to go to the baker in Detroit, Michigan with my grandpa, I was 5 years old, and we went to the baker and we'd buy, rolls, and we'd buy donuts, and we'd buy cupcakes, and always got a 13th one. So for the rest of my life, it's always been about, a baker's dozen.
Yes.
What is the thing that most people misunderstand about you?
Oh, I'm I really am a marshmallow. So I think the misunderstanding is that sometimes I don't look like a marshmallow. Um, and to be totally honest, I know I don't look like a marshmallow, and I can use that to my advantage if I want to keep you away from me, or I don't want to deal, or I don't want to be peopling right now. I've used that um thing that I have. But yeah, pretty much I'm a marshmallow. I cry all the time. And I'm just a big, big-hearted marshmallow.
So the dichotomy here, and
Oh,
I'm gonna
toasted. I'm toasted marshmallow then.
yes, you are. Yes, you are. Not grasshopper, marshmallow. Yeah.
Yes.
That's it's fascinating, and I have a feeling that you've got an opportunity in any group to kind of immediately show up as a leader. I think you're probably not going to be one of the first people to speak. But when you do speak, I think people will generally listen. And what
That I
comes
have had that experience.
and what comes out, I'm gonna bet big dollars that it's worth listening to.
Awesome. Thank you, Bill.
You're very, very welcome. So this has been great. I've got one more question for you. And do you have any questions of me?
Oh, I think, you and I are kindred spirits in the sharing world. I think that we could probably talk for hours endlessly and be transported. Um, so I would love to take on a whole other interview, me asking you questions. Um, that would be very interesting as well.
I would love to spend time with
Have
you.
you answered your own questions?
I actually have not answered all of them. I've had a couple of pros ask me a couple of the questions, and then it kind of just got into oh, the questions are cool, but let's just keep talking, that sort of thing.
Yeah, yeah,
But I have not specifically answered those questions, and quite frankly, they're just not going to be the same every time I speak anyway. I'm
yeah.
not I'm not the same guy I was 2 years ago when I wrote them.
Yeah, or yesterday even.
Yeah, or even 10 minutes before I got on with you.
For sure.
Now I know I'll never be the same again. So,
Awesome.
so anything to say about the process, the questions? What do you think? And by the way, I accept your invitation. I would love to be interviewed by you.
Fabulous. Um, I think it's just fun. It's just I enjoy getting on a ride, not knowing the destination or the turns, and just being with another human being. So for me, this has been a joy and a real pleasure to start my Sunday off with. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Um, yeah, you're just an amazing little human being. So I enjoy you. Thank you.
Yeah, don't get called little very often, but I appreciate
Well, right
that.
now you're on my phone. You're only like this big.
Oh my goodness. You're on my 16-inch laptop, so you're a little bit bigger than that. Anyway, Karen, I just want to thank you, and for all the folks at home. There's this really great opportunity that you and I have, and that is to ask questions. I want to offer that to you as maybe something that you might want to do. And the other thing that I want you to kind of bear in mind too is we're coming up on the holidays here. This can be a really stressful time for people. A good friend of mine who I absolutely idolized used to say this holiday period is your opportunity to go home and relive the horror of your youth with the original cast. And for some people, that's very true. And for other people, there's not much to go home to. So, with all of that in mind, can you do me a favor and just call, text, email anybody that you know, like, and trust or love, and just let them know that the world works better because they're out there. And if they ever need you, you're always just a phone call away. And with that, I hope you have a blessed
Mm,
day. And Karen, thank you again. Yes, namaste.
yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Bill. Send that message right now.
Thank you. Bye for now, all.
You've been listening to Simple Questions for 100 People, part of the Exvadio Podcast Network. You can catch every episode of Simple Questions, plus the rest of the network, at exvadio.com, the Apple Podcasts app, YouTube, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Audible, Amazon Music, and wherever you find podcasts.